What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about the console. Is the console war finally over? This is from IGN. We're going to be talking about 8 months into the strike. Video voice actors, they're still in strike, right? So we're going to talk about is there vulnerability for the AI abuse? Then we're also going to talk about Xbox Project Keenan, which is the gaming handheld we talked about yesterday, which I uploaded a video this morning about it. Now we know more information about it, so we're going to talk about that as well. If we also have time, we'll talk about some entertainment news as well. But that is what's on the show. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I do appreciate you very much for showing up and hanging out with us for 2 or 3 hours. So what's going on, Water Bear? What's going on, Sarge, Big Mo, Brain, Eclipse? Who else is here? Scrolling. Kraken, what's going on? Robert Jones, good morning. Altern, good morning. Last night we played, if you missed Shooting the Shit with Sarge, we played Split Fiction. That game is awesome. That's a game. Go check that out, the video that we did last night. It's over on 30 and Still Gaming. That is a video game. Call a video game. From moment one, just brought a smile to my face. Absolutely, love the entire thing. It's what a vision that he has for his games that he's created. A lot of you guys said I should play It Takes Two. We probably will after this. We played No Way Out a couple years ago with Sarge. We like that game a lot as well. But this one's next level. This one is really, really good. So go check that out. Waterbear says, I don't believe anything IGN says at this point. Can't wait for them to give Shadows a 9.5 out of 10. One on turn. Flip says, yeah, that looks very fun. I have a friend that also bought it, and we're going to play it together soon. It's awesome. It really is good. Kraken says, you're telling me they made a game and then sold a game? Who would have thought? I know. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's one of the reasons, Jones, we normally don't play new games. I mean, we do, but I take so long time to play through them that I don't really spoil it for anybody. That game is great though. There's not really story spoilers. There's just puzzles and different things you do. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, make a game, sell a game. They sold a game. No glitches. Sarge had a moment yesterday, and I think it's because we were using Discord, and he was using Discord, and his audio got desynced through the Xbox, so we had to back out. But we didn't have any issues with the actual game. At least I didn't. And I'm the one that bought the game. He was playing it through Friend Share, which he still had to download. But there might be some sort of disconnect or something after a while. We played for about 2 hours and 45 minutes before he had a problem. Then we had to just back out and start it back up again, and it wasn't an issue anymore. Altern says, it looks like a game from the PlayStation 2 era. Complete fun, full of mechanics. It looks really good. Dude, that one boss fight yesterday, I won't even mention which one it was. Because so far, all the boss fights that we've done, great mechanics. But that one, so good. So good. If you know which one I'm talking about, if you guys watched last night, just so much fun. And I love how they give one player. Everything was great yesterday except for me looking at the wrong side of the screen during one of the shooting exercises. I was like, why aren't I hitting anything? And everyone's like, what's wrong with 30? I was looking at the right side of the screen. I was on the left side of the screen. Other than that, fantastic. Fantastic. Robert Jones says, not only did they make a game, they sold a game that you can play online with a friend for free. Yes, and for $50. $50. Not $70. Not $80. Not $100. Right? $50. $50. Co-op, play with a friend, buy once, play with a friend. Fantastic. Waterbear says the fact that you man play it through friend share is instant win. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. All right, so let's start off. Let's see. Let's start off with the IGN story here. IGN, the IGN. Sort of like when my dad says the YouTube. I don't know why I said the IGN. It's just IGN, just YouTube. It's not the YouTube. I don't know why I did that. Getting old. The. I even use the IGN. Like there's another IGN. Okay. All right. Is the console war finally over? You guys notice I kind of backed up I tried to back up the camera. I couldn't back up the camera, so I backed up my microphone. So I'm more in frame instead of like up like this. I feel like this is I feel like this is going to be better. I gotta get in frame. Okay. Altern says, but 30 games are expensive. We need to charge 70 and 120 for 3 days early access. There's a story about Grand Theft Auto's potentially charging $100, which I don't have on the docket today, but we might talk about that. We might talk about it. Akuta Papa says, I came in during the IGN story. Fuck. Sorry, Akuta Papa. Good morning. Roadkill. I don't know if you heard me yesterday. At the end of the morning show yesterday, I didn't realize that you did a super chat in the morning. I stopped the credits. I stopped the outro music, came back on and thanked you. But if you didn't hear that, I want to say thank you very much for the super chat yesterday. Sorry, I didn't say it yesterday when it actually happened. I don't know why it didn't come across or why I didn't see it. So appreciate you. Yeah, the farting pigs. I lost. I was like I'm farting rainbows. I'm farting rainbows. All right. IGN. Okay, IGN is the console war finally over. The battle between PlayStation and X. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, chat. I have an idea. Let me go real quick. Go to Sono. Let's make. Yeah. Battle music. Battle music. All right, give me a second. Give me a second, chat. I got an idea as soon as I saw console war battle. All right, let me see. Let me move that over. All right. Open this. Move that over. Let me see. This one? Not really war. It's not really war. What about this one? Okay. I think we'll do that one. All right. All right, let me hit this for a second. Let me lower it to about here. Or about here. Let me hear it. Maybe a little louder. Okay. All right. I can't play music that's going to be copyright strike, Water. We have to make our own music. All right, let's go back to the article. No, that's the wrong one. Back to the article. All right. Let's see if this works. Is the console war finally over? The battle between PlayStation and Xbox may be past the finish line, but the new campaign awaits. PlayStation or Xbox? It's the long-running question of the modern video game world. At one point or another in your life, you've almost certainly been a part of the debate. Maybe you started a Reddit thread, or maybe a TikTok video, or struck up a heated chat between friends about it. While there are games who preach the PC gospel, and Nintendo as the god fanatics, much of the last 2 decades of video game history has been made as a result of Sony and Microsoft ongoing tete-a-tete. But is the console war truly still beginning to wage? The video game industry has gone through immense changes in the last year, let alone over the previous 2 decades. Gamers' habits, preferences, and other options have all increased exponentially, in the part thanks to rise of handheld gaming and a younger generation experienced in building their own gaming machines. The battlefield is now particularly unrecognizable compared to its tribal-like origins. But has Victor finally emerged from the trenches? Possibly. But the answer may surprise you. The music was too short, but hey, sounded good. All right. So the video game industry has rapidly evolved to become a financial juggernaut in recent years. In 2019, the worldwide revenue was $285 billion, chat. $285 billion. Last year, it was $475 billion. The figure means that the video games made more than the entire worldwide movie and music industry in 2023 combined. Okay, which made 308 billion, okay, and 28.6 billion respectively. Okay. There's no sign of growth stopping. And by 2029, the industry is estimated to generate nearly $700 billion. Not bad for considering a humble Pong beginnings, right? All that considered, it's no surprise with the the uptick of Hollywood actors flocking to part of the scene in such a lucrative present of the future. Mad Mikkelsen, Keanu Reeves, John Bernthal, and Bernthal, right? And William Dafoe, to name a few, have all started in games recently in the last 5 years. Either involvement reflecting the monumental shift in perspective of video games. Even industry titans like Disney are making significant inroads into gaming, having just invested $1.5 billion into Epic Games as part of Bob Iger's second-term challenge to solidify a gaming presence for the company. A rising tide should lift all boats, unless the board of USS Microsoft, which seems to have sprung a leak. Oh, there goes IGN digging into Xbox. Okay, so the Xbox X and S consoles are intended to be an upgrade from the Xbox One in every way, but the advertisement have yet to prove truly enticing. The one currently ranked above the Series S and X are almost double the sales, and when you couple the fact that the comments of the analyst company Circana's game industry experts, Matt Pescatella, who also suggested that the current console generation is now past its selling peak, it paints a worrying picture for Team Xbox. Does it, though? Right? Does it paint a picture for bad for Xbox if Xbox, in their heads, right? Because this is from a point of view of the outside of the business, not inside the business, right? Is it worrying for Xbox since Xbox has moved away from console? I don't know, right? So closing down its department, which is handles the manufacture and deliver the games of physical retailers, which feels honestly connected to the evasive response to the report that plans to pull out the selling consoles in the EMEA region. If Xbox really has been involved in the console war all this point to a signal to retreat. I mean, I totally understand what they're saying, right? If we're still in this box of selling boxes, then yes, they have retreated, but they've already said that we've already lost. And if you ever thought about it, Xbox has never, ever won. The closest they ever came to winning was still about 3 to 4, maybe 5 million off from, was it 87 million PlayStation 3s to 84 million Xbox 360s back in the day, right? So that's the closest they've ever become. Besides that, it's never, ever been a war, okay? But we saw Peter Moore the other day on the podcast, and he talked about how they had to use it as a war because it was good for business, right? Us versus them, right? You know, what do they do? Sega or Nintendo did it with Sega, right? Sega's not what Nintendo does or something like that. What was that? What was the saying, the slogan that they did? Nintendo does what Sega doesn't, or something like that, right? They had that competitive like console war. Okay, it says, but Xbox is retreating and has also already surrendered during a long Activision Blizzard acquisition process. The statement from Microsoft found in the findings the fact that revealed that the company doesn't believe that Xbox division lost a console war. It thinks it never had a shot to begin with. That's what I'm saying. The closest ever came, right? The closest ever came is with the 360. Crowded House says, what Nintendo don't. That's right. There we go. Okay. So it says, what does the company build around a video game console do when the newest model is struggling to match the predecessor in sales and its parent company only remarks of its failures? It gets out of the console business, but it's still in the console business, right? It's still in the console business. Yeah, Clip says, Sega does what Nintendo don't. Yeah, that's what it was, right? So that was like console wars, right? So it says Xbox is retreating. It has already surrendered. Okay, it's no secret that Xbox Game Pass has become the key priority of the company. But for some reason, we keep for the article after article after article keeps bringing up console. But they've said for multiple years now that they're not playing the console war. They've left the console war, right? Leaked internal documents reveal that estimated prices of Xbox expected to be asked to pay to put AAA titles like Grand Theft Auto 5, 12 to 15 million per month, which they paid and they made money back, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor 300 million on the subscription service. Xbox taking such costs seriously demonstrates that the company consolidating cloud gaming as a key direction for its moving forward. The goal is to clear to see Microsoft recent that this is Xbox advertising campaign suggests that the company is keen to redefine how players think of Xbox. No longer a console, but always acceptable service, accessible service with some hardware to complement it instead. Okay, it seems that the rethinking of what the Xbox is and means that the brand's official hardware won't be limited to being a box under your television set. Okay, an Xbox handheld be rumored to be in development in the past year or so, backed by another leaked document from Activision Blizzard which hints at using handheld-friendly hardware for the next-gen hybrid cloud gaming platform. But Microsoft pivoted in strategy has already been a secret. Okay, or has hardly been a secret from its announcement of plans to create a mobile game store to compete with Apple and Google. The Xbox chief Phil Spencer has owned admission mobile gaming dominance is Sphere is shaping of the company's own path moving forward. The new MO seems simple, and Xbox is a video game brand you can play whenever you want, wherever you want. So why is Microsoft pivoting? Okay, sure, Xbox is struggling over the past couple of generations, but doesn't the video game console market reign supreme? You'd be surprised, in 2024, the total of 3.3 billion estimated video gamers, over 1.93 billion of them play on mobile devices. Let that sink in, chat. Let that sink in. Right? I've been saying this. Now a credible source of IGN has now said it. 1.93 billion of them via mobile devices. That, of course, includes your grandmother playing Candy Crush Saga. Okay, and your non-gamer cousin who also still clocks up to Clash of Clans. But mobile gaming is now so much more than casual audience. Over the last decade, it's quickly become a dominant pillar of the video game market amongst every generation, especially with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Okay, Gen Alpha, is that I guess that would be considered like my son, right? In 2024, or are they not named? I don't think Gen Alpha is my son. I don't even think they're named yet. In total market valuation of the video game industry was 184.3 billion with mobile games, comprising exactly half of the entire figure at 92.5 billion. Okay, a 2.8% increase from previous year. And where do consoles weigh in? At just 50.3 billion, or 27%. That's dropped 4% since 2023. No wonder Microsoft wants your phone into an Xbox. Now, we did a video the other day off Destin Laguerre's video saying, why, he said, why did Microsoft buy Activision? That's it right there, right? The reason they bought it is mobile. That was the whole reason the entire time when they were going, oh, it's Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty, right? It was always about the mobile. Okay. But it's a new development. In 2013, the Asian market for mobile gaming has already dwarfing that of the Western world by heights of 759% in South Korea and 280% in China. You think that GTA 5 has the most profitable game in 2013? You would be wrong. Both Puzzle and Dragon and Candy Crush Saga outperformed Rockstar's Juggernaut by 1.5 and 1.4 billion respectively. Okay? Take a wide-angle lens at 2010 as a whole for video games, and you'll find that 5 of the highest-grossing games were mobile games: Crossfire, Monster Strike, Honor of Kings, Puzzle and Dragon, and Clash of Clans. When you look back at the decade, we highly doubt that any of these titles immediately spring in mind, and yet I'm sure most reading this have yet to start up music or Clash of Clans seared into their brains. I've never played it, never played Clash of Clans. Okay. But I do know that mobile gaming is a juggernaut. Okay. Phones are not the only platform drawing attention away from consoles. While not as significant as mobile gaming explosion, it's clear to see that player habits have shifted towards a greater appreciation for PC gaming. Since 2014, there has been a year-on-year growth of 59 million new PC players, taking us from 1.31 billion in 2014 to 1.86 billion in 2024. It's worth noting that the rise is complemented by the gargantuan 200 million in 2020 due to COVID pandemic, during which streaming became very attractive pastime for many housebound players. But regardless of if Twitch called them or not, gamers have become more technologically literate, okay, educated by the peers online on how to build a PC powerhouse and what the best GPUs are and how to overclock the circuitware as a result. The PC global share of video game market in 2024 lands at 41.5 billion. So it won't be long until the PC battle line overtakes the army of console players, right? Well, maybe not. It says NetZoo's 2016 global game market value report defined at 2.3 billion gap between console and PC, and in 2024 the gap has increased to 9 billion. So this is where people are getting that consoles are still doing fantastic. Sure, because they're charging $80, $90, $100 for a video game, and PC is still charging $40, $50. Okay, that's why they're making that change, right? You're paying for the console, but you're paying more on the console, and you're also paying, for the microtransactions and whatnot on the console as well. That all goes into that gap that's happening there. Okay, so despite the rise of more advanced GPU circuit boards and Gen Z alpha technology craftness, the market that's on the fall rather than the rise, at least for now, is a fall continues. It's not great news for Xbox, which also has made Windows PC its second home. But it's not just dominance in mobile or the uncertain future for PC that Xbox has to contend with. Wars typically have two opposing sides. So it's about time we looked at where PlayStation fits into the console war. Luckily for Sony, things are going pretty well. In the latest quarterly earnings report, Sony has revealed 75 million PlayStation 5s have been sold to date, shipped. That the big lead ahead of combined 29.7 million sales on Xbox Series X and S. Gap between the two consoles is widening, and the stats suggest that every one Xbox Series X and bought during November 2024, 5 PlayStation 5 consoles were also purchased. A ratio, no doubt, helped by the launch of PlayStation 5 Pro. Sony Game and Network Services also saw a healthy 12.3% bump in the profits during the final months of 2024, helped by significantly healthy first-party sales, including Astro Bot selling 1.5 million copies. I wouldn't really gloat about the 1.5 million copies of your game of the year when you have 75 million shipped or sold PlayStations out there and only 1.5 million copies under 2 months. Lifetime sales of Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut surprising 13 million, but that's also on the PlayStation 4, not just the PlayStation 5, by the way. The future also looks bright for the PlayStation 5, and Games Research Director Piers Harding estimates that in 2029, Sony will have sold 106.9 million consoles. That's fantastic. So in 9 years of the console being out, 9 years, by 2029, Sony will sold 106.9 million consoles. Fantastic, right? That's as much as you're getting. Meaning you're not going to get way above, meaning you're about 40 million lower than your PlayStation, 2? Okay. Again, there's only been 3 systems that have made over 150 million units sold. They're at 169.9 million consoles, hence why they're moving their games to PC. Okay. How do things look for Xbox Series X and S future? Well, leaked Microsoft documents estimated that by 2027, it's expected to have sold around 56 to 59 million units. While it's not directly comparable projections, it's not good. In order for Microsoft to reestablish its competitive edge in the current market, it will need to close the 5-to-1 PlayStation to Xbox One gap. Again, if you're still in this box of console versus console, then they would. But if you're going to compare that, then you have to compare Xbox and PlayStation to Switch, okay, to Nintendo. And you would have to close the gap, PlayStation, to what Nintendo is. And Nintendo's already at 150, and they're 7 years into the cycle. And at 9, you're only at 106. You're way, way behind Nintendo, and Xbox is way, way behind PlayStation. So there you go. Okay, but they won't write that. They won't write that, right? Because again, the Switch is not considered a competitor, right? So significantly increase the number of units sold per year on year, and also bolster the profitability and exclusives. And projections don't support a positive outcome for the first two requirements. And given that Phil Spencer has no red line mantra for Xbox titles coming to PlayStation and Switch, possibly even including the next Halo title, the argument could be made that PlayStation is already king of consoles. No. First of all, Sony is not the king of consoles. That would be Nintendo. Nintendo, this generation, their last generation, okay, is the king of consoles. Numbers show that they have 155 million sold for Switches. Okay, PlayStation has 75, and Xbox has 30, whatever. Okay, and by the end of the 9 years, Switch will still be at 150 something, maybe 160. PlayStation, by their estimate, will be 106. And Xbox, by their estimation, will be around 56 to 59 million. So who would win that console war? Again, writing the line and then saying, right? I mean, listen, listen to what they said. Possibly even including the next Halo title. The argument could be made that PlayStation has already the king of consoles. How does one word mean the other? Right? Nintendo has 55 million consoles. PlayStation has 75 and is going to hit 106 in 9 years, and yet they're the king of the console. I'm so baffled by this. Okay, but looking at PlayStation 5 in isolation paints a different picture. 50% of all PlayStation users are currently still playing older PlayStation 4s. I've said that, and people still argue with me, saying, no, they're not. They're buying PlayStations. I'm like, no, 50% of your population is still on PlayStation 4. Boom. Instead of PlayStation 5s, despite the newest generation now entering its second half of its life cycle. Why is this? Well, on the top 20 best-selling games in the U.S. in 2024, only one truly PlayStation 5 exclusive, Marvel Spider-Man 2, at number 19. Helldivers 2 does feature at number 3, but it was also playable on PC at launch, which we know sold 2-1, okay, on PC over the console. There are roughly 15 genuine PlayStation 5 exclusive games on the console as a whole, and they're little here to justify the console price in many people's eyes. If the PlayStation 5 is struggling to justify the regular $500 price tag, then it's understandable why the $700 PlayStation 5 Pro debut is a mixed reception. But we already knew, right? That is a niched market. Okay. Oh, you want me to move the goalpost? All right, let me move the goalpost. Move it over there. Okay. So, the general consensus amongst the tech journalists is that perhaps this upgrade came too early within the life cycle. The last PlayStation 4 came out around the exact same time, didn't it? It was like 5 years within the life cycle. About the same. What did they come out? 3 months early? Okay. So, especially given the games advertised in the campaign were slightly upscaled generation-old remasters. And while the IGN polled its readers, the results have overwhelmingly clear that the PlayStation 5 Pro has little to offer or forking over that much cash. Again, we knew who they made that for. It was for the fans of the PlayStation that wanted to upgrade their system because keeping up with the Joneses, they're always that market, no matter where you are. If it's Apple, if it's Microsoft, if it's Sony, doesn't matter, right? The results were overwhelmingly clear, okay, and they put that PlayStation 5 simply isn't a must-buy for consoles, at least not yet. This is undoubtedly changed when the behemoth of Grand Theft Auto 6 finally releases later this year, which almost guaranteed to become the shining star of this generation and the first chance at PlayStation 5 to show off their true power, which is 100% true, right? When Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, you will sell a shit ton more systems, okay? You will buy systems. I think 5s will sell more than 5 Pro because I don't think people want to spend $700 than $100 if it's true for Grand Theft Auto, spend $600 just for one game. It's going to be a hard sell. It's going to be a hard sell. So if the console war is over, if you're Microsoft, it would appear that there has never been any belief that there was a chance to battle Sony for supremacy. Again, where is Nintendo in all of this conversation? I'm confused by this. If you're Sony, your new console has become success but lacks the true pedigree to be claimed as the new leap forward yet, feeling more like a bunny hop and if anything else. Okay, the true winner of the console war seems to be those who choose not to play it at all. Rumors of the mobile gaming companies encroaching on the traditional console gaming sphere will only ramp up in the years to come, with Tencent rumored to be in talks to buy out Ubisoft from Guillemot Brothers. Having already purchased Sumo Group in 2021, mobile gaming is becoming increasingly pivotal for the sustainability and profitability of all these companies. Take-Two Interactive claimed that 10% of their world population plays subsidiary of Zynga's games every month. That means that it's more than likely that your grandmother playing Zynga Poker or Words with Friends 2 is funding the continued development of Grand Theft Auto 6. Okay? Not a sentence you would also expect to read 5 years ago. But one reflective of the new state of play of video game market, the next 5 years of video game history will be defined less and less by who has the most powerful hardware and the more who's got cloud gaming service. Farm can also expand quickest and strongest. The console war is over, but the mobile gaming war, a myriad of smaller conflicts inevitably spin out of it, has only begun, right? And we've said that. It's going to be about content war or streaming war or subscription war. That's where it's moving to. Again, the whole article just misrepresents the entire industry, right? They talk about the industry as a whole. They talk about mobile. They talk about cloud. They talk about Sony. They talk about Xbox, but they don't talk about Nintendo. How in the world can you talk about the gaming industry and only bring up Nintendo like one time, okay, right here, and Nintendo has good fanatics in the very beginning? Everything else that they talked about never brought Nintendo up once in this console war, okay? And they always pander it towards one side or the other because obviously everything goes out the window, right? The goalpost moves when you don't talk about the big brother in the room, which is this guy right here. Crazy Uncle Nintendo. Crazy Uncle Nintendo. Nintendo is the king of consoles, okay? They're the king of software. And not to bring them into the conversation is just bad, okay? Sure, if I want to say that my channel is the biggest channel on YouTube without introducing anybody else in the YouTube space, well, then that would be a true statement, wouldn't it? Okay? But it's false in every way, shape, or form, okay? My channel is super tiny and nobody knows it exists, okay? But it's not just IGN, Bear. It's not just IGN. It's the entire media industry that makes this position of Sony beating Xbox, but they never talk about Nintendo. Nintendo has the most console sales, most software sales. They do what they want. But because it's unfair, because it's a mobile device, it's a hybrid device, right? They can't compete with them, even though that's the console. But it's not a console. It only fits in their narrative when they want it to fit in their narrative, right? Look, console wars is stupid. Always has been, always will be. I understand from their side, from when Peter Moore said it was good for business. All ships rise, all boats rise with it. That is when it was in this box of boxes being sold, 100% true. That's not where we are today, right? That's not where we are today, right? Today, we are in a place of where you can play games on a mobile device. You can play games on the cloud. You can play games on your television set. You can play games wherever you feel like where you want to spend your money and play games. That's where it's going to be. Where is it going to be 15, 20 years from now, okay, when everyone's playing games just on their television set? You don't have an Xbox television set. You'll have maybe a Sony television set, right? And Sony just takes the PlayStation and includes it directly into their Sony television sets, okay? Now they'll be like, oh, the TV wars are up, and it's just silly, okay? If you're a gamer, buy what system you want, play the games where you want. If it's on PC, if it's on mobile, if it's on a console, if it's not on console, if it's in the cloud, wherever it is, and just play the games where you want to play. Because gaming is about games. It's in the name, right? You're not consoling. You're gaming. You're a gamer. You're not a consoler, okay? Gaming is about gaming. And that, at the end of the day, is what the most important thing is. Sure, we could talk about this on a podcast and have a conversation about who's winning the console war. It doesn't really matter who's winning the console war from our point of view. Our point of view is you're playing games where you want to play. Most of you guys own multiple systems. If it's all of them, or if it's 3 of the 4, you know what I mean? Maybe you own a Nintendo and a PC, or maybe you own a Nintendo and a PlayStation. Maybe you own a PC, a PlayStation, and an Xbox, right? Whatever it is. You have multiple systems in your house if you're in this 1 percentile of the stuff, right? Listen to the number again, okay? 700 billion, okay? By 2029, 700 billion estimated. Right now it's at 400, right? 475 billion. That's nuts, right? So in 5 years, it's going to go up 300 billion. Absolutely insane. right? And what drives that? The consoles? No, it's the games. The games is driving that market, right? These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. If you like it, what we do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I appreciate you very much. Let me know in the comment section what you think of, is this console war over? Are they just going to shift the console war to streaming wars? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. All right, let me scroll back up. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Roadkill says, I think the Xbox could have made come back if they would have kept their games exclusively only on the console. It would have brought millions. No, because when Phil Spencer talked about it, Roadkill, it was people didn't want to leave their library. And he said they lost the console war in the Xbox One era, right? That's when they lost it. Maybe they promised the FTC that they put their games everywhere because they could have just kept them. Everybody would also have been bought. No. They look. It was never about the consoles. It was always about the mobile. They didn't care about Call of Duty. They're like, yeah, great. We'll give everyone a 10-year contract. It doesn't matter. They wanted the mobile. The mobile is half of the video game industry. Okay, 1.9 billion devices, right? 1.9. Where is it? Yeah, 1.9 billion devices. They weren't fighting for COD. Crowd says, Lono is completely convinced that Sony and the console market is going to disrupt the PC market. He's smoking copium. I don't think he's off by much, House. I mean, I don't know what he said. I'm just taking from what you said he said. But I'm assuming he's talking about, because I've talked about this in the past, right? If PlayStation starts to, if consoles start to turn into PCs, okay, and the PC is the lowest tier, like actual PC, right? If I could buy a PlayStation for $700, which is a low tier PC, and still compete with the PC it's in that market, then you look at it and go, do I buy a PC or do I buy a PlayStation, right? Again, I've also said that PlayStation's looking around now, right? Who do we compete with? If Xbox is going cloud and Nintendo is off on the Switch, PlayStation's like, well, let's raise our price of our console and try to compete with that PC market, especially when they're putting their stuff over on PC. So again, I would have to hear what Lono said, but I mean, PC or PlayStation's trying to make a low-end PC. It could be convincing. And now all you're doing is hoping that the people that don't want to wait for the games from PlayStation to move over to PC want to come and buy a PlayStation. But if that gap keeps closing, you're going to get day and date on PlayStation and PC. To be honest, Crowded, being a loyal to Xbox or PlayStation is weird. Just make a good game and sell it wherever the system is. I don't really matter because gamers will play. That's right. All the console war crap only has loser consumers. Clip says, I mean, if the Chinese market is getting into PC gaming, it's not just going anywhere. Trust me. All right, it's not going anywhere. Altern says, but it's no longer about the console. It's about the Broke Pass and the PlayStation Plus. 21 to Rose. Waterbear says, I wonder why Nintendo never gets thrown into the conversation, because then it would throw out the entire conversation because they're so far ahead. Let's see. GTA 6 will sell a ton of PlayStation Pros. I don't know about a ton, but it definitely is going to sell systems. The reason I don't say a ton, Roadkill, is that a lot of people don't want to buy the set. They know Grand Theft Auto is coming, so why won't those people buy a PlayStation Pro now? Right? Why won't they buy it now? They're not going to buy the PlayStation Pro. The people that are coming over from PlayStation 4 are just going to buy a regular PlayStation. Right? The average goer is not going to go and buy a $700 system to get a $100 game. They'll buy a $500 system and hopefully get the $100 game or the $50 game, any way to save money. There's people bitching about eggs prices, and you think they're going to, most people in a hobby industry are going to spend that haven't spent the money yet on any console, Xbox or PlayStation, you think they're going to drop $800. The average consumer is going to drop $800 to play Grand Theft Auto? Probably not. If the Pro can do 60, it will. The entire economy is uprooted right now. People are not going to spend $800 to play Grand Theft Auto. They will buy a system, but they're not going to go for the more expensive system. Let's see. Altern says, Nintendo doesn't exist. Handhelds, it doesn't count. Roadkill says, Nintendo can't play any of the games at launch compared to anything close to the X and PlayStation, so it's not in the conversation. Correct, because it would make the narrative different, right? How can you be the king of consoles when the console king is 40 million, 50 million, 60 million ahead of you? Make it make sense. Bear says IGN is trash back in the day. It called the tabloid press gossip girls stirring up empty pot. Performance in graphic-wise, Nintendo is not in the race yet. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with graphics. Graphics has nothing to do with selling consoles. Nintendo has proven that. It's about the games. Kraken says we have entered the content wars. Steam knows it. Xbox knows it. Even PlayStation knows it. The only ones that are in denial are console fanboys. Altern says my streaming services is better than your streaming service. Mine doesn't lag as much as yours. Hey, my AT&T provider is better than your Verizon provider. King of consoles, Nintendo doesn't need to worry about this. They're only the ones that are real exclusives. Coping at an immense rate. More people are switching to PC than ever right now. That's right. That's right, Kylo. Consoles can't become PCs, and the PC market is constantly growing, while consoles are also becoming saturated. Consoles can become PCs if the next consoles are like PC hybrids, 100%, right? There was someone, and none of you guys would know this, because none of you, maybe Dupless, maybe El Dente, were in my stream when we were on Twitch. This is like back in like 2015, 2016. Some random person, right? Some random person came into my stream, and we had a conversation, and they said they work for the industry, and they said that the next consoles, and this is before the X and the PlayStation 5 came out, right? They said that they're going to be hybrid PCs where you can exchange, like, you know, pull the cards out and stuff. So basically you can make your own console. It'd be like a hybrid. You put what you want in it. They said that's coming down the road, right? And we had a conversation back then. I was like, I don't know. I said, I don't know if it's for the next console. I said, but I can see that happening, right? And now we're at that point where I can see that 100% happening. But that was 9-10 years ago when someone said that. Kyle says, people more than ever want the latest and greatest, and that's what PC offers. Right. At that point, though, if you're buying a PlayStation Pro, and you're like, I'm spending $700, $800 if I buy the disc drive and the stand, and then the $80 to play games online or whatever a year, you're closer to $1,000, right? So then you're like, should I just save up and buy a PC? And that would be, for whoever, each their own. Someone might look at that and go, I'm going to buy a PC. I'm going to save up and buy a PC rather than a console. Because if you buy a PC, you open up to everything. If you buy a PlayStation, you're only on PlayStation. If you buy an Xbox, you're on Xbox and you could be on PC. All depends on what it is, right? But if you buy a PC, sooner or later, you're getting everything that Xbox is offering. You get everything later down the road that PlayStation's offering for first-party titles. You get all third-party games. You get other games that are only coming to PC. And on top of that, you can emulate other things if you know how to do it for like Nintendo and whatnot. Kraken says, I think the value who's going to disrupt the console market, you can argue that they already have it. It's Steam and the Steam Deck, and possibly even more when the Steam console is released. Yeah, we watched that video yesterday with Legendary Drops talking about how Steam is a dominant force. Ron says, why do PlayStation gamers don't consider a Switch a console? I don't even think it's PlayStation gamers. I don't know if it's PlayStation gamers. I think it's more of the media doesn't want to, because they're writing an article, and all the things that are said, if you put Nintendo in this, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Kylo says, don't have to pay for the online either on PC. Upfront cost is more, but saving $100 a year, not paying for the online ads up. Right? You still have to pay for internet, right? You got to pay for internet, and then you got to pay on top of internet for console. But if you're paying for internet, your PC you don't have to pay more just to access it. I don't know. I always think it's interesting that they always don't bring up Nintendo in the conversation. Like, oh, the best console ever sold. It's like the best console ever sold right now is PlayStation 2, which might get surpassed by Nintendo Switch. Right? The first Nintendo Switch. But Sony has Sony has that title. They have the best console ever created. Okay? But to say that the PlayStation 5, in their own report here, in their estimations, is only going to stop at 106, give them 110, give them 115, give them 120 million, which is still 30 million lower than their PlayStation 2, which is still 800 million. No, I'm sorry. Which is still 1.6 billion less than PCs. Which is still 1.6 billion less than what PCs are out there. Sarge says, if you're a person like Dustin on console, works better for you, or Destin works better for you because you play a ton of games. But if you want to tier a computer savvy and you get a PC, not a big issue. Switch 2 will make Xbox and Sony look at the like a bum on the corner begging for money. It'll be interesting to see, because we haven't really seen the graphical update that they're doing and what's actually the Switch 2. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when that happens, when they start showing games. Right? Because even their new system is still under what PlayStation and Xbox are performing. But it's not about the graphics, it's about the games. I think that's what I'm going to call people now. Right? Us gamers like to play games. But if you're a consoler, right, that'll be the new fanatic term, right? Someone comes in here and is like, oh, no, PlayStation's the best. No, Xbox is the best. Right? If they're in for a platform, they're just a consoler. They're not actually a gamer. Right? They're not actually a gamer. They're a consoler. We'll slander them. We'll slander them with that. Oh, look at the consoler. It's just silly. Right? Yesterday, like I said in the beginning, Split Fiction. Right? We started playing that. Man, what a great game. What a great game. It's not a great game because it's on Xbox. It's not a great game because it was on PlayStation. It's a great game because it's a great game. We think summer launch for the Switch 2? Or do you think it's fall release? No, I think it's going to come out in May. I think it's coming out in May or June. I think they're announcing something in April, and I think it comes out in May. End of May, beginning of June. They want to get that out rolling, and then they'll capitalize during the holiday season as well. It'll be interesting to see what they price it at. I probably won't pick up a Switch 2 unless some game I need. Otherwise, I'll pick it up 2 years later down the road. Maybe 3. Unless something comes out, right? Because I'm not a person that needs a console. That goes with any console. If PlayStation announced a new console or Xbox announced a new console, I'm waiting. Because games don't come out for those systems until 3-4 years into the mix. Everything else, anytime a new console gets released, the games that are released for it were like the tail end of what the last console was. Very minimal. You get games like Rise, or you get games like 1886 type of thing. That's how they promote the next console. Okay. Now, I do agree that Grand Theft Auto 6 is that console seller. Okay. But now we're talking about, just like they did last one, Grand Theft Auto 5 was on 360, was on the One, and on the new system. It's been for 3 generations of consoles, right? So you better believe that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to do the exact same thing when the next ones come in. Water Bear says, if Ultimate Alliance 4, then it's day one for me. Right. If Ultimate Alliance 4 is only on Switch 2, then that'll be a thing that I would buy it for. Because I could justify it going, okay, we can have the Switch 1, I'll buy a Switch 2, my son can get this, get more games, find out what he likes, and then I can justify it with, right? Robert Jones says, I wanted a Switch 2 until I heard Pokemon was on Switch 1, or I bought the Steam Deck instead. Right. Again, none of the systems are going to be like, oh, not for me. Let me see what else we got going on. Let me see. We have any? Oh, that's the one I wanted to talk about. That was the George Lucas stuff, but we'll talk about that at the end. The next thing I want to talk about. Crowd says also, if Valve brings Steam OS to desktop PCs, it's going to be awesome. We won't have to use Windows to run games anymore. Well, the next thing we're going to talk about is Xbox Project Keenan gaming handheld price compatibility, launch window, and everything we know so far. Jez Gordon, we talked about it yesterday. That video went up this morning, but there's more information about it now, what's happening for it. So a lot of people, not what you think it is. I actually said that if Xbox makes their own handheld, it doesn't make sense to me. And if it teams up with Steam, then it would make sense, or it teams up with somebody else. So it looks like there's teaming up with Asus, and Asus that makes the ROG Ally. They're teaming up with them to make, their handheld device. So Xbox is not putting out the money to make the device and lose money. Okay, they teamed up with someone that's already making the device, but they're making a particular device for Xbox on the thing, right? So it's not them making it, it's someone else making it. They're in cahoots with them. So if you guys like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Xbox Project Keenan gaming handheld price, compatibility, launch window, and everything we know so far. Microsoft is working on a partnered gaming handheld with Asus, and set to launch later this year. Project Keenan is part of a wider effort at Microsoft engaging OEMs on Xbox-style gaming hardware. That's a mock-up. I don't think that's what it looks like. Exclusively revealed at Xbox Project Keenan earlier this week, detailing the first salvo of in Microsoft's bold new hardware direction for its gaming platform. But you want more details, right? So Keenan, not Keenan, as previously wrote, cursed at Warner, the OEM build PC gaming handheld at its core, akin to its Asus ROG Ally or Lenovo's Legion Go. It's also set to launch later than the providing nothing goes awry. Microsoft is working closely with OEMs on making Windows more friendly for dedicated PC gaming device like this, and a larger amount of effort being poured into the Xbox app, Xbox Service Platform on Windows, and then the Xbox Game Bar on Windows to that end. Since I've been getting tons of questions about the Keenan, I put together a frequently asked questions to answer some of the majority questions I've received from all of you, and also read the comments in the Windows Central. All right, so here you go. So Jez Gordon's pretty good at putting all this and the leaks and whatnot. So in news in which may not shock you, the Asus has been tipped to build Xbox's Project Keenan device, which, again, armchair warrior here inside my house of a small YouTuber here. I said months and months ago, I don't see Xbox coming out making their own handheld. If they team up with someone else, I said that's a smart move. I said, but now this box has to come out and it actually has to. It can't be difficult. It needs to just work. You know what I mean? I don't want to go behind the back route to try to play my games from Steam and everything else. If it comes out and it's easy to use, then this will be a win. Testing ground, it'll be a win. According to the trusted source, the Keenan will blend Asus styling with updated design conventions, more typical of an Xbox-style device, with more prominent grips and dedicated Xbox guide-style button. It's unclear whether Keenan will also set alongside a perspective of Asus ROG Ally 2, or as a separate SKU, or whether it's the ROG Ally 2, right? Which I think it could be the ROG Ally 2, basically, right? The Asus ROG Ally X is arguably the best PC gaming handheld on the market of writing this, with the best balance of specs, design, weight, and price. Lenovo's choice to partner up with Valve for the first Steam OS third-party hardware program, but it seems that Asus won't be the last OEM to partner up with Microsoft and device the nature. Microsoft Xbox hardware team is led by Ronan, who also previously led the Microsoft OEM program for Windows PC, and this expertise is doubtless leading the charge of the program, which Verge reports a codename Bayside. Okay, for those of you that are hoping that Keenan would also play Xbox games, I'm sorry to report that this is a tried and true Windows PC in its essence. Okay, meaning that they cannot bring most of the Xbox library to the device. Now that might be a huge not sale for a lot of people. They're like, oh, like I can't play all the games that I have on Xbox right now over on that new device. It only can be the games that you purchased that are on Xbox, which is Play Anywhere. Only games that fall under the Xbox Play Anywhere will work as a single purchase entity across Xbox One, Xbox Series S, X, and the Keenan. Much like the Asus ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go, Xbox Cloud Gaming will also extend to some Xbox-only games, and you could potentially play on this device, but you're also limited to whatever the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate there for the most part. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Okay, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, is that basically this handheld device is a Game Pass on the go, right? If you could do cloud gaming like you can right now on your mobile phone or any other kind of mobile device, that'll be a big selling point where you can take on the go. A lot of people don't want to play on the mobile phone because it's too small. If you don't want to use the backbone like I have, like this thing, I'll be the Dreamcast guy for a second. Hey guys, I got the backbone here, right? Like if you're putting your screen on this, a lot of people don't like to look at their phone, right? So if you want to get a bigger screen, again, we don't know the size of the screen of what this is, but it'll be more dedicated for that type of stuff, right? If you're looking to play anywhere and you're on the Xbox One, or maybe you're on the Xbox whatever, S or X, and you're looking to play some of the games, you might not get a lot of the games that you want because they're not Play Anywhere. But we'll see. So there's limitations already, okay? Which is, if it's a testing ground, cool. If it's not a testing ground to their next console, whatever handheld they're going to make for the next console, then this is bad. Since the Windows PC is gaming handheld form, you will also be able to natively run other gaming stores like Steam, Battle.net, GOG, and launchers like Riot Client. Okay? Again, if they make it super simple where it's not like going around the back end of this to be like, oh, you got to hit the... Again, people on PC don't want to go from here to here to do a different launcher. If it's complicated on this device, it doesn't matter if you can play Steam on it. People are not going to buy it because it's going to be too complicated for them, right? So, Microsoft is working towards bringing more Xbox games to Windows via the big push for Xbox Play Anywhere and Xbox Cloud Gaming, but it remains to be seen how many of the thousands of Xbox platform-bound games and technology or even legally bringing across. Take this section with a huge grain of salt, because global economic landscape is very rapidly shifting, and the United States has initiated a trade war, placing tariffs on a variety of commodities, and threatens to upend the global supply chain, which could severely impact the price of devices like gaming handheld consoles and PC parts in general. Sure. But as a consumer, I just want a good price point, right? And this could affect the price point. As such, I don't think the Asus Microsoft has placed a hard price on the Keenan just yet, but I do know the target price range. It's actually not as bad as I expect. Our sources indicate that it won't be quite as cheap as the base model Steam Deck, but it also won't be as expensive as the Lenovo Legion Go, okay, the retail price. And somewhere in the middle, with the base model price range between $499 and $599 potentially. But like I said, like Jez said, do take this with a huge grain of salt, given that the state of the trade war going on right now. I've also heard that there are also 2 SKUs on offer, although it's unclear what the difference is between them. The more expensive model may also have more powerful chips, or maybe even simpler, larger SSD. I'm still digging into more details on that. Okay. What's somewhat unclear right now is exactly what's inside of the actual device. Sure, there's a display size, planned chips are, an overall feature set, but we can also infer of the first AMD Z2 device that Lenovo announced that they also the CES, which also most likely what they are also using inside this device. Given that the price may also similar range in the Legion Go S base model, or assume that you also have a running Z2 Go chipset rather than the Z2 Extreme, which hasn't appeared in the available device yet. Lenovo Legion Go 2 is expected to come out with the Z2 Extreme SKU, but also launch in the window unclear of writing. So There's the chart. You can look at that real fast. As I don't need to read all of that. Okay. If it's the Z2 Go, it will also, in a sense, the less powerful general than the Z1 Extreme device and the Asus ROG Ally and the Legion Go. Indeed, the Legion Go S hasn't reviewed particularly well. A review suggested that the power efficiency giant gains aren't worth a decrease of graphic performance. The Z2 Go is also a few cores lower, clock speed-wise, and perhaps also comparable to the Steam Deck in real-world usage, i.e. being the better of the 2D games over indie games. However, there are also potential ways that the Asus also could avoid some of the issues that the Legion Go S Z2 Go configuration, and the screen also the Legion Go S is arguably overspec'd, undermining the potential power efficiency gained by the chip. Okay, so it says again, the launch windows need to be taken with a grain of salt here due to the tariffs, global conditions, and also so on, but we also heard that the key-in device could be revealed as soon as this summer. Now, here's a big thing, because Kylo just asked, when do we think the Switch 2 is going to be announced? Right, so now you get the Switch 2 coming out. If that's a summer release, and this is coming out the summer release, now we have a handheld console war, right? Because now they're both consoles, they're both mobile devices, and we'll see what happens there, right? Especially with the price variation of these. Okay, it says Microsoft built a slate for May of 19 and 2025. The summer Xbox showcase typically drops the first week of June as well. It's potentially a good time to show off a new piece of hardware for a new partner Windows OEM program, but the variety of these things could also hold up in the date as well as launching window naturally giving the state of things. Because I've also heard that Microsoft is committed to some pretty heavy work on the Windows and really make sure that these partner devices feel as close to an Xbox as possible. The devices essentially exist as a proof of concept of sorts, and this is actually smart, right? So Phil Spencer talked about how the S this whole time is basically if it can run on the S, it can run on a handheld. And if it runs on the handheld, they don't want to put money into their own handheld device until they partner with someone that's already making handhelds and get this to see how good it runs and what the sales are and what the tests are, right? So this seems pretty interesting, right? It says proof of concept of sorts and development with feedback from users in the coming months. Microsoft Xbox apps are being rebuilt, refactored, and also improved by the usability, particularly the small screens. Microsoft Xbox Bar, for example, got an update only this week to refresh the overall visual styling, bring it closer to the Xbox, and moving further away from Windows. There's also a lot of issues with the Windows as an OS for a device like this. The monstrous capabilities of the course of the primary benefit could argue that Windows is nowhere near as bad as some people suggest the type of device would be, but it's also true that many OS or Windows OS elements cannot navigate the control alone, and touchscreens are fidelity on top. So Microsoft is working on more closely with the OEMs upgrade Windows experience to that end. It's also unclear if they're also going to work and necessarily impact the prospective launch window. So Jez says, I've argued in the past about Xbox has no choice but to make its own gaming handheld, and I believe that's still being the case. I agree with this, right? If you're going to come out with a handheld right now, team up with someone. If it works, then make your own down the road. I still said, though, don't make a handheld if your next system, if they're making an Xbox console, if they make this handheld the console that it's supposed to be, like a Switch where you can put it in a device, and it's like a handheld device and it's also a console, that would make much more sense than releasing the Xbox, Series X and also a handheld on top of that, right? But who knows? Microsoft loves to make it very confusing for people. Okay, it says Microsoft is working on bringing more Xbox to Windows, but also remains true that tens of millions of players own digital Xbox games that can only work on an Xbox device per licensing agreement terms with publisher and developers. As such, in order to run games designed for Xbox One or Series X or S, a developer environment, Microsoft would need to either build a device that natively ERA or features some kind of emulation. It's unclear if Microsoft has the license to actually simplify the emulation process and games on Windows-based devices, which is almost certainly what the next-gen Xbox console are going to be. Probably. Okay. Indeed, Xbox lead Phil Spencer has been hinting for a long time now that Xbox console will be more of a Windows-like than ever before, potentially with the ability to run third-party stores like Steam, GOG, and if Microsoft can execute on that vision, building a console that is essentially a TV-friendly PC with openness and capability of Windows, or compatibility with Windows, it could be a game changer. Right. But that sentence, okay, if it could do Steam and GOG and play all the games, then that would be the one-stop shop for a lot of people, and that would be a game seller. If they could come out with a console, handheld, like the Switch, but you plug it into a like a sleeve, like the Switch does. You can play it on your television sets. You can take it on the go. Has Steam, has Xbox, has GOG. That would be the next step in evolution of one-stop shop, play everywhere, play anywhere type of thing, right? There are no means hurdles, especially not for a company like Microsoft, whether it's emulation, update, licensing agreement, or native Xbox Play Anywhere ports. I'm told that Microsoft is working on the very own Xbox handheld for native gaming, slated for 2027. Launch window, again, grain of salt, global, economy, etc., etc., he says. As the battle for consumer free time rages, Microsoft and other game publishers more than ever need to meet the players where they are at. The ability to take a Xbox experience with me without needing to rely on internet connection would dramatically increase the playtime hours, and most likely many others as well. Xbox PC handhelds to improve Microsoft's footprint in the space, but they struggle to compete with Steam, which also has far more games to buy. And mature app platform, it can also equip with the tablet-friendly big picture mode already. Either way, increasingly intriguing as the handheld shenanigans are going. Definitely watch the space for more. So, look, if this is what it looks like, whatever it is, right? It's got to do a lot of different things. And if they get the UI wrong, 2, if you can't do Steam and you can't do other things, or it makes it super complicated where it just plays the Xbox games and then you have to go through the back door to get to Steam, or you have to go to the back door to get GOG, or you have to run an emulation in the background. Sure, for the 1%ers, you're gonna love it, right? You're gonna pay. Oh, this is my handheld that I'm gonna get. But for everybody else, the regular consumers, you got to make it as simple as possible, not complicated, okay? Because if it's complicated, people are going to be like, I don't really like this, right? Then we're talking about battery life, right? If the battery life is going to die, what can you play? 1 hour, 2 hours? Like, what are you playing with this? So lots of questions that we have. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Is it game changing if they put Steam and all the other things on? I think it is. I think that's the only way that Xbox can compete in the gaming sphere if they finally bring what they've been saying, play more places, play anywhere type of stuff in the hands of these actual gamers. But if they can't do this, if all of this doesn't happen, then this is dead in the water, right? It'll be a niche thing. It'll be like Google Glass, where it comes out and people are like, oh yeah, remember that? Remember the Windows Phone? Man, the Windows Phone was so good, right? But they drop it as fast as possible. So this is why I think they're teaming up with Asus. Test sampling. Who knows how many they're going to put out or make. See what it sells. See how it works. Learn from what they're doing on this thing. And then in 2027, 2 years from now, they come out with their own console. But again, if the next console is only handheld, I think that's a loss. Okay? You'll lose, and that would really hurt. Okay? If it's a console that is a handheld, is a console at your house, well, then we're talking. Now you're cooking with fire. Right? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about this handheld device. Is it something that you're intrigued by? Is it something that you're interested in? Let me know in the live chat as well. Again, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, chat. I got to rest my voice for a second. Robert Jones says that shit is going to run on the Windows Store. So basically, like the Portal. No. It's not going to be the Portal. Well, sort of, I guess. I think you'll be able to play games, but you won't be able to play. You won't be able to play all your games that you own, but you probably could download games to the device and then play it locally. But we'll see. Waterbear says, and not the ROG, where you can also play Game Pass and Steam games on. Hopefully, the battery life is good. The battery life is always going to be a problem with these things, right? Mike, if you want to sound like a Dreamcast guy, you gotta shove marbles in your jaws. Mean house. Device names are Xbox Series S Mini and Xbox Series X Mini. God, could you imagine, Jones, if that's what the fuck it is? That would be awful. But like, yeah, you could easily get the Xbox One, the Xbox Series S, the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S Mini, or the Xbox Series S Mini X. It's like, what? What are you doing? Kylo says Power Watch Simulator 2 just announced the GOAT is back. Wait, Power Watch Simulator 2? Sarge says, not every product has a new tariff. We have had tariffs always. We need to see if the consoles has a new tariff. Most likely coming from China. Well, wasn't China's like tariffs like out for certain goods? Certain goods from China are like 5%, and other ones are like 700%. It all depends on what you're getting from there. Ron says, but can it play Concord? I mean, unfortunately, I don't think anything can play Concord. Would be cool, but I don't see Xbox adding official support to Steam or GOG. Yeah, if it's maybe here maybe Jones, maybe this device is not, but maybe the device in 2027 is. You know what I mean? Kyle says, if I can play my whole Xbox library natively and Game Pass natively, I will buy one. If it's all cloud, it's a no. Yeah, I don't think the way the article sounds, it doesn't sound like it's going to be playing native, right? Like you're not going to be able to take all your games that you had. It's only to play anywhere. And again, like the other article we just read, cloud gaming is the future. Streaming is the future. So if this now hear me out. I said this a year and a half ago. I said that it will be cloud gaming will be the majority of the market within 5 to 7 years. If they come out with this, and then the market's like, well, okay, so now Steam has their Steam Deck 2, and then Lenovo's got their deck, and then the Asus, and then Xbox has got theirs, and then PlayStation has their handheld because that's also in the works too, right? They all have handhelds. They're all in the same market now as Nintendo. So Nintendo has got the Switch, and PlayStation's got theirs, and Xbox has got theirs. They're all competing for the same space now, and they're all cloud. What do you do as a customer? What do you do as a customer? You have no choice. Your choices are, if you don't want to play cloud, then you don't play at all. Or you buy one of the things that you want. Then it's like, all right, which one am I buying? Am I buying the one that just has Steam? Am I buying the one where it has Steam and Xbox? Am I buying just PlayStations? Am I buying Nintendos? Right? That's the next war. Kraken says, L, if it's a cloud. Agreed. Hence why PlayStation, in my opinion, fucked up. Because if their portal wasn't just Wi-Fi when it first came out, they would have sold a shit ton of those things. Okay? But they didn't. They didn't sell a shit ton. Right? Now they're updating it where you can play it in more places, but it would have been much better if I chose not to. I don't want a PlayStation 5, but now I'm buying the portal. And obviously the difference between the portal and the PlayStation would be that smaller screen. It's portable. I can take it places, right? That would have sold. I would have picked up one of those like this, okay? But you needed a PlayStation. Not my future. Good riddance, Xbox handheld. Well, I'm talking about, Kylo, in the future, every company has just a handheld. That's their. It would all be a handheld that you dock like a Switch. That's the whole industry. You would stop playing video games if you didn't like that. I just use my backbone if it's in the cloud. What's the point? I agreed. That's what I use all the time. When I'm traveling, backbone in my phone. That's it. Or as they say, like hotcakes. That's right, hotcakes. I would have bought the portal if it had some native support. Absolutely, Jones. Absolutely. Without a doubt, I would have bought the portal if it had some native support. If I could buy the first-party title games on that device without cloud or Wi-Fi, 100% would have been a much better choice. That's where PlayStation would have sold a shit ton. Or hotcakes. Nate says I would stop playing if it's all handheld. I want Steam Deck though. Well, it would be handheld, Nate, or you take it and dock it into the dock where you can play on your television set. That's where I think the future's going. It'll be all digital because obviously Xbox is not going to be making the cards like Nintendo, right? They would make it where it's just download digitally. Okay. Now, if you can play it locally, native, Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, that's a win. That should be a standard across for handhelds. my opinion. Right? If it's just Wi-Fi, we have issues. We have issues. Hilly said, "What's going on, Hilly? The industry won't end up cloud only. You can't make PCs disappear." That's not what I'm saying, though, Hilly. That being the majority, you don't need 90% of the market. You don't need 90% of the market. You need like 33% of the market. Right? It doesn't even need to be 33% of the market, right? It could be just the most that people are using. And the only reason it'll be the most things that people are using is because they force it down your throat because you would have no choice. Again, if PC is happening and then the consoles start to morph into this next area, okay, well, if they're not making hardware anymore, like discs or cartridges or whatever, then it's just all digital. And if it's all digital, then you're getting it off the cloud, regardless if you're playing it straight from the cloud or if you're downloading it from the cloud and then downloading it locally. That's the future. You're not going to have a choice. Your choice as a gamer is, do I want to still game or am I done gaming? You either accept what they're giving you because the market's all together. This is why you shouldn't love a company, because Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, all of them know what the market's doing for streaming and whatnot, and they're all in the market together. And they're like, what do you guys want to do? And they're like, well, let's slowly bring it over here. And then they say, well, it's cloud gaming. Right? Pushing cloud gaming. What it is. It's going to be. Kylo says, if it's not native anymore in the future, I'll be sitting there playing nothing new. Right, until a day comes where you're playing your old devices and they just don't work anymore. Crowded says, is it inevitable that the console becomes obsolete at some point? I don't think it becomes obsolete. I think there will always be a market for it. There'll just be less and less. So, like right now, there's less and less games that you can purchase physical, unless you get like a company like Limited Run Games or get a small run of something. And then what happens with the small run of stuff house is, let's say Xbox decides and Microsoft and Sony decide and Nintendo decide that we're going to sell you a console that has a disk drive. They're going to meal piece it to you like they do now, okay, where the hard drive or the disk drive, I should say, is separate. So they sell you the console digital, or you can get the disk drive separate. You get the disk drive separate, and then they're like, oh, if you want to play the game, it's $100 digital version of the game. But if you want the actual hard copy, limited run of it, you can pre-order it now. Get your hard copy today for $150. Okay? That's where I think the future is going, where the digital games will be cheaper, okay? But they'll only be cheaper because there's $100 now. They're $100, $120 now. But if you want a physical copy of a game, it's going to cost more because now they have to print that out in limited runs. That's where I think the industry wants to go. They want to flip it where they said that digital games will be cheaper, but yet digital games have never gone down in price. They've gone up in price. Well, now they're at a point where once they get rid of physical copies, the majority, and now it's just all digital, now they can sell you the physical copies for a higher price. Kyle says, I'll fix it. People would make a killing selling refurbished games and products. They do. That's what all the mom and pop shops are right now, Kylo. People that want older games, that's why they sell them for higher prices, because of the limited amount of product that's out there. How do you feel about buying another console, Mike? Are you done? I already answered this question up above. I'm not going to buy the brand new console coming out right away. I never really buy the consoles right when they come out. Right? Like, I'll buy it if there's a reason to buy it. If there's no new games to buy, then I'll stick with what I have. Right? I will always play games. If the game is digital, physical, console, cloud, in some way, shape, or form, I will always be playing games because I love playing games. Kylo says, trust me, I know that. I go to my local store once a month. I collect GameCube games. Yeah, and that'll always be a thing. Hilly says, the digital games I buy got way cheaper, like 80 to 90% off. I have a trick to reduce the cost. I wait. Hilly, what you do is very small part of the market, right? People are buy now, right? Just look at the microtransactions, right? 20% makes 80%, right? 20% makes 80%. So the 20% of the market that can't wait, they'll charge a premium price for these types of things. Everybody else that waits, they make their money in the long term, but they have to wait. By microtransactions and battle passes to skip certain things, why they cost what they cost. Robert Jones says you could save hundreds of dollars with one simple trick. That waiting? Time. Let's see here. We got this next story, which goes into the voice actors on strike, AI abuse. We'll start talking about this in a second. Yeah, patience. Do I have that? I have that one.
Hi, I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have: patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
Good old Cap. Good old Cap. Billy says, I don't get FOMO. I have FOPTMFC, fear of paying too much for crap. Hey, let me read that again. Hilly. I don't get FOMO. I have FOPMIF, the fear of paying too much for crap. How would you pronounce that? Is that FOPMIF? Kylo says, I installed the Sortless mod in GameCube, and I can dump my disc games into an SD card and never have to use my disc again, or obviously get them from the internet. How dare you, sir? How dare you, sir, steal stuff for yourself so you can play games on your own device that you already paid and purchased. Altered says, good old Cap. Dead, but he's still giving us lessons. That's why I need the other one where he puts the chair. Eclipse says, I think I got that last year because I bought Suicide Squad. All right, real quick. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to go fill up my glass of water. I need more water. So give me, we're going to take a break. What song do you guys want to hear? What song do you guys want to hear? Got, probably not going to play all the way through. Billy says IGN. Ultron says, taking a break. Oh no! YouTube just put 7 ads on it. Don't worry, I'll remove the 7 ads later. About 45 minutes afterwards, I remove them because that's when they pop in. Either IGN or Mo. All right, we'll play IGN. All right. Oh, actually, you know what I could do? I'll do one better for you guys. Well, because we're doing IGN. Here you go. You guys enjoy this.
Just hit the scene, all the gamers hyped. It's the next big thing. AAA title or a quirky indie gem. What's the verdict? Oh, here we go again. Graphics are stunning, but the story's a sin. Gameplay solid, but it's just not fresh within. No matter how it shines or where it might land, IGN's got a score that we all understand. Graphics are stunning, but the story's a sin. Gameplay solid, but it's just not fresh within. understand. 7 out of 10 is the favorite groove. No matter the game, that's our go-to move. Is it good? Is it bad? We'll never really know. 7 out of 10, it's the same old show. A sequel drops, it's polished and refined. Fans say it's great, but they won't change their mind. Too much water they cry or lacks innovation. 7's their home base, their default station. Best game ever or just okay, doesn't really matter, they'll grade it the same way. From space epics to farming sims, that 7's lurking, ready to begin. 7 out of 10 is your favorite groove. No matter the game, that's their go-to move. Is it good? Is it bad? We'll never really know. 7 out of 10, it's the same old show. What if it's a masterpiece? What if it's a flop? 7's like your GPS, they just won't stop. We laugh, we joke, but deep down we wait. Will our IGN surprise us, or is 7 our fate? Or is 7 our fate? Or is 7 our fate? 7 out of 10, it's a classic tune. From dawn till dusk, morning till the moon. It's a meme that won't die, they'll never really know. 7 out of 10, it'll never end. So here's to IGN, with the trusty pen, we'll always predict you 7 out of 10. Love it or hate it, they'll never bend. IGN forever, 7's their best friend.
All right, there you go. There you go. A music video. You got a music video for yourself. We have I think 3 music videos. We have one for Bethesda. We got one for Battlefield. We have one for 7 out of 10. All right. Going to the next one. Mike, I have an idea for a new song. May I share? You may. You want me to wait? All right, you share it. We'll wait. Wait. I don't have a waiting sound. I need to add a waiting sound. Or I need to wait. Like a Jeopardy theme, maybe? I think you should make one called Leaks are the new trailers. I have one that is called Grain of Salt. Take it with a grain of salt. I think this is about
Whispers in the air, they're flying fast. Rumors and leaks, will they ever last? Stories untold, secrets to unfold, but are they real or just fool's gold? Take it with a grain of salt, my friend. Not every tale
good one too.
in the end. Games and movies will get so grand, but it's plain nothing burns. Do you understand? Screenshots drop, oh the buzz ignites. Speculation burns like neon lights. Trailers tease,
Yeah, this is about leaks.
but keep your head steady in the breeze. Take it with a grain of salt, my friend. Not every tale's the truth in the end.
Already there. Already got one. All right. 8 months into the strike, and video game voice actors say the industry's latest proposal is filled with alarming loopholes that leave our members vulnerable to AI abuse. You don't ever want to be abused by AI. All right. So, guys, like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 8 o'clock. From 8 o'clock. Not 8 o'clock. You can come at 8 o'clock. I won't be here. 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So progress has been made, but SAG-AFTRA says the two sides in the dispute are still far apart. Okay. So SAG-AFTRA Union says progress has been made in negotiations over video game voice and motion capture actors strike that was also called in July of 2024, but warned that most of the recent proposals submitted by the bargaining group is filed with the alarming loopholes that will leave our members vulnerable and AI abuse. I wonder what you think. What do you think the abuse is going to be? Right? We talked about this, I think 7-8 months ago. Which what would happen is they would pay you a well wage up front, right? So let's say they paid you $1,000 instead of paying you $400. They paid you $1,000, and then that $1,000 is a one-time fee, okay? And then once they do it, they can use your likeness for the remainder of the time once they take you that captured in, okay? This is what they've done with EA Madden, because these people that weren't part of SAG-AFTRA, they asked the students in college football, and they gave them, what, $600 and a copy of the game, if I'm not mistaken, right? $600 and a copy of the game, and that was forever. That's not $600 next year when they put them back in the game, okay? If they're like a freshman, then a sophomore, then a junior, that's a one-time fee of $600 and a copy of the game. That's how they got away with it, right? But now they don't have to scan those people back in again. They can just use those characters, use those people's faces in the future for the next NCAA football that comes out in 2026 and 2027. So if you're a freshman and you said, "Yeah, I'll take $600," okay? Well, you're not protected by SAG-AFTRA because you're not an actor. You're just a sports athlete, and they went up bat for you. They said, "Yeah, we're gonna get you some money." They got you money. They got you $600 and a copy of the game, okay? So it says the strike, which officially began on July 26, 2024, calls for all compensation and the rights to inform consist for the use of AI, use of actors' faces, voices, and bodies. SAG-AFTRA National Executive Director Duncan Crabtree, Ireland, said that at the time, the game makers negotiated with the union and said that they offered meaningful AI protection that included requiring consistent of fair compensation. Fair compensation just means they pay you more money than you're getting paid the one time. Okay? It says, but the union feels otherwise, claiming game companies involved in the negotiation refuse to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by the contract and the AI language. That clearly continues to be the case, and SAG-AFTRA said that the new statement that the bargaining group representing the game companies would have you believe that they are close to reaching a deal, but instead, that's not actually the case. It's also shared a chart of proposal to demonstrate how far apart we remain fundamental AI protections for all performers. Okay? Here it says, give me an extra. There's some statements. All right, so here's some statements, or here's some things. Let's see what they read back down here. It says, they want to use all past performances of any performer they can source from outside the contract without any other protections being bargained at all. Bro. Once I give them the thing, they can use it forever. Fuck you. Okay? It says, quote, you could be told nothing about your replica being used, offered nothing in a way of payment, and you could also do nothing about it. They want to be able to make your replica continue to work as you're during a future strike, whether you like it or not. And once you give your specific consent for how your replica can be used, they refuse to tell you what they actually did with it. Okay, so let's say you came in as a background talent. They scanned you in the game. They gave you $50, gave you $150. They gave you $150. They scanned you in the machine, and now that machine, you're part of SAG-AFTRA. They put you in Avowed. You're in the background of Avowed, and then all of a sudden the company used you, and now you're in Outer Worlds 2. And then because it's Microsoft, they could put you in to another game of the next Bethesda game. They could use you as a model for everything else, but you got that $150. Congratulations. You've made it big time, okay? Instead of paying you every time they've used you, they won't tell you where they used you because now they own you for what it is. Awesome, okay? The rise of AI is a major concern for voice and mocap actors in the game business, and rightly so. If the game developers can reduce the budgets by using machine-generated voices rather than those of real people, it's safe to bet that they also will. Of course they will. Of course they will. Hello? We have... I'm not even a big corporation. I'm a dude in my house that's making songs. Crazy Uncle Nintendo. If you think they're not going to be using AI voices without ever using real people, and you think you're going to be able to distinguish between what's real or fake, you're not going to tell. There's some people that do such shitty jobs of acting, you would think it's AI. Okay? Just imagine all the dialogue that's in all the games. Okay? Now you don't have to pay any of those people. You could just do AI. You better believe that's what they're going to do. You better believe EA is going to do that. You better believe that Microsoft's going to do that. You better believe that somebody's going to do that, because they're tired of paying $315 million for their video games, but they still will charge you 80, 90, 100, 120, because gaming's hard. Gaming's hard. Okay? Whether generative AI can match genuine human performance is a matter of debate, but there's no question that the technology is getting better, and sooner or later, the difference will become indistinguishable, 100%. Okay? Or it can be distinguished, and a significant portion of the gaming audience simply may not care. And I think that's the bigger issue, right? If I'm a gamer, I don't care. Mark Daria talked about this. You don't know if the game sucks because if the writer had a bad day at work, or the CEO's son was the writer, or he had a. As a consumer, I don't care. I don't care who the voice actor is in a game, right? Is it good? Does it keep me involved in the game? Does it break my immersion from the game? Doesn't matter. You could put AI, you could put real people, you could make anyone you want made up. I don't care, right? As long as the game is good, not broke, not buggy, not unfinished, make a game, sell a game, right? But now they're making a game, selling a game with generative AI, procedurally generated worlds, and then the AI is just making the game itself. And if you can't distinguish it, do you really know? Does it really matter to you? No, because you just paid your hard-earned money and you just want to play a game. Okay? So it says we're not quite at that point yet, as strong negative reactions as Sony recently leaked work on an AI-powered Aloy. Okay? But the experimentation also makes it clear that the game makers are pushing this sort of work. And while the very unnatural voice that can also be a chatbot can also easily hand wave as a placeholder, it worked towards a goal, and those systems will get better. Of course they'll get better. So SAG-AFTRA warned the game companies are hoping union members will turn on each other as a strike drags out, but the game makers and themselves are facing growing pressure. League of Legends studio Riot Games has recently forced a recycled old voiceovers for some of the English language skins due to the strike. And more recently, Bungie said a Destiny 2's Heresy episode launched and the some voice lines missing. Okay. In February, more than 30 members of Apex Legends French cast, not members of the SAG-AFTRA, but no France as a union, reportedly refused to sign a new contract because it required them to allow the work to be used in trained generative AI systems. Right. Not only do they want to pay you for a one-time use, but they want to pay you so your stuff is actually training the thing that's going to replace you. Okay. It says, quote, with the perceivably signed projects dragging their way through the production pipeline, employers are feeling a little bit squeezed from the strike as SAG-AFTRA members who work in the video game continue to stand together and refuse to work without adequate protections. The union wrote. Continued, quote, says, this is causing employers to seek other performers that can also exploit to fill those roles, including those who don't typically perform in games. That's right. People that are not part of it. Hey, 30, do you want to do a voice acting in a video game? Yeah, sure. And then after I do that, then I have to become SAG-AFTRA, right? So they use you like a tissue, and then because you did the acting role, and they use you in the voiceover, now you have to become SAG-AFTRA, but now you can't take any more jobs because they're on strike, okay? So whether you perceive signed projects dragging their way through production pipeline, employers are feeling the squeeze, and the strike SAG-AFTRA members also work in game continue together. Okay, I already read that. Causing employers to seek performance. If you're also approached for such a role, we urge you to seriously consider the consequences. Not only would you be able to undermining the efforts of the fellow members, but you also be putting yourself at risk by working without protections against the AI misuse. And AI misuse is just a nice way of saying that the companies want to use your performance to replace you without consent or competition. Okay? This is absolutely a problem. This has also been a problem for years and years, but now people before didn't realize how close we were. But now, just in the last 6 months, what music has become, what artwork has become, what video AI has become, what the procedurally generated stuff that video games have done, with all of these corporations talking about how they're using AI in their everyday stuff that they're doing in video games. Phil Spencer's talked about it. Android Wilson's talked about it for EA, right? right? Sony's talked about it. They're doing stuff. If you think for 1 second that these companies that you fight for, that you think that Sony's the best or Microsoft's the best and they love me and I love them and they love their box and I hug it and kiss it and oh my God, I love it. If you think they give two shits about you, they don't care. They don't care. They want to put as much money out there as possible. If they can make the game for $10 and sell it for $1,000, they will. Okay, because that's the name of the game. Make as much money as possible. So if they can cut out the middleman, if they can cut out the people, they don't have to make a physical copy. If they don't have to pay for the actors, if they don't have to actually make the video game anymore and the AI does it all itself, then what the hell do they need everyone for? It's absolute pandemonium. And people don't realize how close we are to being replaced by all the stuff in the arts. Okay? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about the AI? Do you think this is nothing, no big deal? Do you think this is going to completely crash the market of video games? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the live stream. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Crowd says by those missing voice lines in Destiny 2 were brutal, by the way. What do you mean? What happened with the voice lines? But it hasn't stopped me from playing. Well, that's a good point, right? Because you probably don't. If you didn't know there was lines missing, how would you know they're missing? You know what I mean? You probably just would have been like, oh, that seems weird. Something seems like it's missing. Let me scroll back up here. Let's see. Jammer Mo. Let's see. Hilly says, ChatGPT, please roast me. Travis says, I think the problem is AI period. My friend who's in voice acting says that they're already going to make it if they can use to mimic the dead. I mean, they're already doing that. That was like 3-4 years ago where someone, I think it was Kanye West, brought Kim Kardashian's dad back from the grave and she had a conversation with him. Pretty crazy. Altern says the abuse will be paid up front and then use the voice whenever they want without paying a cent. That's right. Kylo says rip them all off was the best-selling sports game last year. Yeah, that's why they paid $600 because they know they were going to make their money back on the NCAA football. Crowded House says, yeah, I think the voiceover actors are pretty much fucked, if I'm honest. Sarge says abuse, greedy, and more abuse. Flip says, I'm playing Space Marines 2 public test on Steam. The new armor set looks dope as hell. Kylo says, any of these kids' agents who told them that it was a great idea to take the $600 should be fired. It's a whole organization. It's a whole organization that they get paid. Like, this is a good opportunity. You should take this. Right? We had that conversation, last year sometime, maybe about a year ago? Over a year ago? Kylo says the only lifesaver for the corporation's wallets, for all consumers benefit one bit. Don't benefit one bit. Sarge says if you don't think they're just going to get offline now and grab your get your meds. I don't know why I couldn't say the word. It's also, let's see, Travis says, I mean, it could also make Johnny, Woong, Bosch, everything, and wait, they already are. Kylo says it's also one voice actors, CJ and Nico in GTA hate Rockstar because how badly they fucked up them over with the pay. That happens in acting just in general all the time. Come on, Argus. Says I'm back. I'm in the mood for talking some shit. Where's Travis at? Al says, where's the lines of missing of the episodes because of the actors were on strike? Kylo says Split Fiction has sold 2 million copies in 1 week already. Posted by them. That's nice. See? And probably the game didn't cost them $200 million to make. You know what I mean? Do we know a budget for what they made that game for? It's a very good game. Very good game. Argus says they had to remove the voice of 2 characters in the season story because of the protests about AI, and all you have to do is silence and subtitle. So there was people that were on strike that they used dialogue, and they had to remove it because they used their voices without their consent. It was like, what? Replicating it? Let's see here. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, so this is going to be very interesting. I mean, right now, someone could take, I mean, anyone that's on stream, anyone that's a public persona online, you could use my voice, right? All you need is 3. It doesn't matter. Anyone that's in front of a television set, anyone that's in front of a camera, not a television set, but that's on TV, right? You need like 3 to 6 seconds, and you can mimic their voice. It's getting batshit crazy. Okay. Erisborn Sloan. I met the Imperial Fist is sick. Not sure. Okay. Oh, I thought they were just unrecorded because of the strike. No. They are people that are on strike that they use it. So is their voice? So what's that happening with Destiny 2? Did they have to remove? They had to remove the voice lines because they weren't the actors, or because the actors are on strike and they use their voice and they didn't pay them? Is that why? Yeah, see, I don't know the whole Destiny 2 thing. All right, let's go from the 8 months of that. What time is it? 4 to 11. This one is a Star Wars thing here. What just happened? Where did it go? There we go. Okay. Why does it keep closing? Sons of bitches. All right, this is from Yahoo Entertainment. It's from IndieWire. Argus says the voices from previous content are still in the game, and some of the beginnings of the season still there, and it might have been there to stop recording, something like that. All right, the next story we got is producer Rick Callen says that Lucas scrapped a live-action TV series, would have nixed Disney's Star Wars purchase. So this is like a what-if scenario, okay? If this, we talked about this 4 years ago, 5 years ago. We actually showed video evidence of this show that they're working on called, I think it was called Undercity or Underground or something like that. Basically, it was a whole thing. 1313 was supposed to be a game that came out. This was a TV series that was going to be on television. George Lucas is this. This is way before he was selling it to Disney, right? So this right here, I kind of glimpsed through it earlier, and I saw someone else talk about this. This would have been nutty, okay? Because we saw what the stuff was, but we didn't know how many episodes. We didn't know what the budget was going to be, right? So this is all before Lucas sold it to Disney. And if this was made, it would have never been sold to Disney, okay? So if you guys like what we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to noon Eastern. We just talk about news stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5, okay? So producer Rick Callen says that Lucas' scrapped live-action TV series would have nixed Disney's Star Wars purchase. Okay, there's always been a little bit of truth in legends. Ahsoka once said Star Wars Rebels. The line was a little Easter egg, and the fans say them about the pre-Disney takeover. Star Wars stories told in a decade's worth of novels, comics, and video games might still live on in an official canon. It also applies to a bit of a show called Star Wars Underworld. George Lucas, ambitious and ultimately scrapped live-action TV series and was developing in years after the Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, hits theaters in 2005. Okay? Little bits of information have leaked about how, over the years, one thing was certain. Per its title, it was set in the galaxy far, far away, amongst the scoundrels and smugglers of bounty hunters assorted with criminals. But how Rick McCallum, the producer best associated with Star Wars prequels, who oversaw the production of those films in Lucasfilm, with Lucas himself directing the opening, and a bit more about the series would have represented. One of the Young Indiana Chronicle podcasts, McCallum, entered the Lucasfilm fold as a producer in the 90s show, and which arguably bears many similarities to the prequels. The producer said that we've been blown the whole Star Wars universe, and Disney would have definitely never offered George to buy the franchise. IndieWire's request a comment from Lucasfilm about the podcast have gone unanswered. Part of this might have also been simply due to the cost. He said that the podcast, that it could have been figured out that some of to do each episode for less than $40 million. Just to put this in perspective, those of you that don't know, like a Mando episode cost like $8 million. Like an $8 million episode is what's happening today in 2020. Well, in 2019, right? 2020, they were doing $8 million an episode. This is going to be $40 million an episode. He says, we know nothing. The cost consists of Disney isn't willing to invest too much more into the show and go over budget. Just look at The Acolyte. The problem was also that each episode was bigger than the films, he said. So the lowest I could also get done with each installment was about $40 million an episode. That's insane. That's insane. McCallum also said that they were dark and they were sexy. They were also violent. They were absolutely wonderful, complex, challenging scripts. Over the years, Star Wars Underworld had been referred to as Lucas is trying to do The Sopranos in Star Wars. And the time was also elapsed also since the show has simply provided the expensive to make the broadcast partner and never lined up with more details have merged here and there. Amongst them, Star Trek writer, Battlestar Galactica showrunner Ronald D. Moore also went into the showrun Outlander instead, and one of the writers of Underworld, given the extraordinary complexity he gave Galactica, as well as episodes of The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. It's all-timer of the script and Brandon Burgard of the Star Trek First Content, and the idea of him being involved in Star Wars could have been for the ages. Now, McCallum went so far to say that he had about 60 episode scripts to at least the third draft stage. He believed that Lucas planned for the show to run over 100 episodes. Jesus Christ. 40 million an episode, 100 episodes? Holy Christ. Okay. That launched into 2008. He achieved that feat, ultimately clocking in at 133 installments in the department of the company following Disney's acquisition in October of 2012. Getting back to the meaning of the Ahsoka quote that the fans have also embraced, that the stories developed to Star Wars before Disney have always found a way of bubbling back somehow. Just look at some of the non-canon Grand Admiral Thrawn introductions, the popular series of books in 1991, made his into the official canon, and the Rebels show then, Ahsoka itself, is believed to be elements of the Underworld. May have popped up in the Disney properties and also been produced since it was just having to know it. He says, we do know that Rogue One was a project pitched at Lucasfilm pre-Disney by Visual Effects, John Knoll, who also told IndieWire in 2017 the idea is convinced as an Underworld installment. Okay, the Underworld would have exploded Han Solo's origins, or explored Han Solo's origins, might have also morphed into a solo Star Wars story. Even the idea of focusing the criminal underworld is something Underworld had a common with The Mandalorian, while the Bad Batch animated series of Andor went on to explore the same time period of Underworld would have been. Underworld seems to be an incredibly lost opportunity that was a few years ahead of its time, but it also might have watched more than we do realize. It's so sad. It's so sad to know that we could have had so much different things in the landscape of Star Wars, right? You look at what it is now. Hindsight's 2020. When everyone thought that Disney bought Star Wars and were like, if you had to sell it, this would probably be the best company to do it, because in 2012, Disney wasn't what Disney is today, okay? People disliked Disney, but they didn't hate Disney. Disney wasn't political back then. They were just an entertainment company, but they've changed so many things so much since they bought it. And we talked about this, last week, 2 weeks ago, that Kathleen Kennedy said she was going to retire, and then she said she's not going to retire, and she said she's never going to retire, right? Where her legacy is going to be known to destroying the complete and utter Star Wars franchise in 7 years. Okay? No matter what she does, doesn't matter if she comes out with the next movie she comes out with is not going to seal a deal of, oh my God, she's amazing. So she completely ruined the thing. Disney has started to ruin Marvel. So much so you've taken two of the biggest franchises, okay, with Marvel and Star Wars, and they completely flushed them down the toilet, which is amazing. Okay. If Lucas never sold, okay, and he made these shows, where the fuck would we be now in the Star Wars universe? What would we have? It's sad, man. It's sad to know that back then, 40 million an episode, that's insane. Okay, I don't know about the 40 million an episode, but God, it would have been a lot better if Lucas never signed the deal with the big corporation and just made these things himself. It still would have that Star Wars feel to it. It wouldn't have bad writing and bad stuff, right? But it's sad to see. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think if Lucas never sold Disney, do you think we'd still have Star Wars fatigue? Do you think it would have gone the way that it has regardless? Or do you think it would have been a completely different timeline? And we would still be loving Star Wars and all the canon and all the backstories and all the extended universe? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of the other videos. Thanks for watching. Let's see here. Pulling back up. Roadkill says, I think Daredevil Born Again is so effing boring. Like, what the hell? I might as well just watch Law and Order. Oh, is it that bad, Roadkill? The Netflix shows Daredevil and The Punisher, those are the best. Netflix, the Daredevil one is the best comic book show ever. Roadkill says Daredevil show is no Netflix Daredevil. Well, to put it in perspective, Argus, you're asking how good is it? One, Travis is saying it's great. Okay, and two, it's the lowest watched show in the history of Disney Plus shows, as far as Marvel goes or Star Wars. So take that what you want. Take that with you what you will. Jason says, I'll wait for it to finish. Hearing mixed things. Argus says they need to do an alternate universe Star Wars so they can't be restricted by all the things in the past of the franchise that lock them into a certain position and limit. That's not their problem. They literally got rid of the entire extended universe and said that they don't have anything. Kathleen Kennedy literally said, we don't have anything. And then they go back to it every once in a while. As far as Star Wars games, my favorite one is Star Wars The Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Star Wars games have been pretty good. I like both Star Wars games that EA made. I liked Star Wars Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2. I liked Fallen Order. Travis says one of the Star Wars trilogies since Disney bought it, and that's Jedi Fallen Order. Just gave in to the dark side and became a Sith. Yeah. Sad. Well, he had a kid at the age of 59 or 60, something like that. And he wanted to be a dad, which, honorable. I hope he had enjoyed his life. But man, it's gotta eat him up. It's gotta eat him up inside that he threw away his kid before his kid. You know what I mean? Star Wars is that kid for him. Maybe people would hate it for a different reason. Well, there's always Jones, that people gave shit to Lucas when he directed the original Star Wars compared to Empire Strikes Back. And then when the prequels came out, they gave him shit for those as well. But as time passed, they understood what his vision was. Right? And then after they watched 7, 8, and 9, they were like, God, Lucas is much better than that. Crowded says, I heard that Daredevil Born Again is great. Apparently, there's a mixed reception. Let's look up Rotten Tomatoes real fast. Okay, let's see. Daredevil. Right now, Daredevil Born Again is an 86 and an 82. So it seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. Okay. We always split, right? We always split. We never take one side or the other. We take the total of both and split it right down. So right now it's an 84. It's an 84. So if you like it, but it seems like the internet, but it is still the lowest watched show. People are done. People are done with Marvel. Marvel has completely ruined the brand, just like they did with Star Wars. Says I don't see it being a 9 out of 10 like people are saying. For me, it was definitely like a 7. So it's good. Not great. Rokia says, why can't we buy Transformers Fall of Cybertron? I was just watching this kid play it on Xbox. Why can't I buy the game, a Deadpool game? Why can't I buy it? Because it's that licensing. Delisted. Now that now it's owned by Activision. Activision published them, but they still have to get the licensing and stuff like that. I think sometime this year you will be able to, Roadkill. You will be able to, because someone said they're back up on the store, but you just can't purchase them yet. Travis says, I bet Lucas doesn't lose a wink of sleep over selling it. Oh, I guarantee you he does. That was his whole life. What are you talking about? His whole thing. I mean, he's got $4 billion to cry his tears, but that was his baby. That's his life for 40 years. Roadkill says, I bet he wished she kept the Star Wars kid. Jason says, Fallen Order was okay. Story was nothing special. It's still a good game. It's a good game. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Roadkill says it's DC time. Progressiveness, Argus says, progressive and appeal to modern audience ruined their brands, in my opinion. I think that's one of the reasons. Argus, which I also think goes hand in hand with bad writing. I'm actually working on a, after we talked about it yesterday, right? I was talking about Brave New World because I watched a little bit of it. And I was when we talked about it yesterday about how Captain America is just not, don't know anything about him. You don't know anything about the character Sam Wilson that we talked about yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever it was, right? So I'm starting to write why. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to put it on Nerding with 30. I'm going to try a different type of format of making content. I'm going to put it over there. But yeah, I'm writing together something about why do we like the stories that we liked just 15 years ago with what they did with Marvel characters or Star Wars characters or DC characters compared to the characters they're giving us now, right? And it's got a major part of doing it. There's a lot of the characters now are just handed the thing. There's no drama. There's no nothing. Okay, like for instance, we know Hawkeye and we know the backstory of Hawkeye, but then that Kate Bishop comes in and she's just like handed the reins with not a backstory of like why you should like the character. Right? In the comics, yes, but in the MCU, no. Okay? Riri Williams. Okay? We know the story of Iron Man and what he's done to get to where he is. Great story arc. Okay? Riri Williams, you know nothing, and she's just the best. Right? And that's the major problem is the writing for these characters. There's nothing behind it. It's just, here's the next superhero. There's no build up to it. There's nothing to it. It's just before they had to build up to the characters. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. In the future, there's no build-up. It's like, well, here's a new character. You got to like him. Right? Has so much to do with the actual writing. Argus says yes, but yes, because of the ideology, progressives have thinking they're going to also offend even the single individual on the planet, combined with the lack of their talent that led to terrible entertainment we have these days. I think that's a lot of stuff involved in it. But it's the lack of the talent, which is the writing. And the writing doesn't explore any kind of the backstory of any characters. They're just told, like, here you go. This is it. A few things: bad writing, over appeal of politics, and also a bias of what you saw first being better. Well, the bias thing, Jones. Take Riri Williams and Tony Stark's character. Okay? Tony Stark had his own movie. Iron Man had his own movie. And he had an actual arc in his first movie. Where's Riri Williams' first movie as Ironheart? Where's that? The first time you saw her was she was a secondhand character in a movie, and we're just supposed to like her. Right? You could have started with her own solo movie to introduce her, but they didn't want to put the effort in for that. So because they didn't put the effort in to tell that story of that character, then they didn't write a backstory for her. Exactly. Exactly. Riri Williams is Ironheart. Okay, which is the new Iron Man. Right? And that's the point. Argus says, I agree. I think it's also the mindset, the ideology that led to this restriction. Their ability to grow, their talent, to look who they inspiration and teach, opportunities that also could make them better. They told not even to read the fucking comics. Right? They were told not to read the comics. They were told not to look at the certain things. Like, what are you doing? There's a massive lack of talent, especially since a lot of people that are young writers, they haven't lived to write. Sure, are there writers that are young that can write? Sure, but you better have a good fucking imagination, right? And if you don't have a good imagination, then you better have lived in some experiences of yourself to write into the stories. Right? Writers write what they know, or they write what they've experienced. Well, if all these people are writing stories because of, I didn't get hired because of my color of my skin or because of the sex I was. Well, let me tell you something. That's not going to be a big seller for people that go for power fantasy. Especially when you take a character that is known and then you convert that story into that type of thing. Like we said it yesterday, in the show of Winter Soldier, right? Falcon and Winter Soldier, you're following Sam Wilson, who's Captain America, and he's supposed to be relatable, but what? Because he can't get a loan either? That's how I'm supposed to follow the guy? Oh, I have so much in common with him. What a power fantasy. The new Captain America can't get a loan. I should feel good about myself. Robert Jones says, after seeing the OG Power Rangers, I don't want to see any of the newer versions. The first is the best. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with obviously I can relate to this with Transformers, right? There'll always be Transformers Generation 1. The 84 cartoon to 86 is the best in my head. Love watching the stuff. I still watch the rest of the Transformers. I still like Transformers. But then the last couple of years, seeing the cartoons, like, what the fuck did they turn it into? Now, obviously, I know I'm getting older. Obviously, I understand that it's not meant for me as an adult. I watched the Netflix show. I thought the Netflix show was great when they made the Transformers one back in 2019, 1920, whatever it was. Okay? It was good. Do I have a bias of I still like Generation 1? Sure. But you could still tell good stories that could be like, oh, man, I watched Transformers 1 in the theaters. Thought it was good. Good. Right? But it didn't do well. Why? because of the way they told the story. It's just the way they do it. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's like, I feel like when Lucas made Star Wars, he did what he wanted because that's the way he wanted to do it. Now it's by committee, right? And if someone says something or does something, then they're like, well, you can't say that because that might offend this person. And they're like, oh, you're right. Well, what about if we did this? Well, you can't say that because it might do this. Instead of just doing it, right? And make a game, sell a game, write a book, sell a book, make a movie, sell a movie, okay? And instead of just making the product and putting it out there, they always say, well, it didn't sell well, not because it's not on them. It's just like, this didn't work, right? It's on you, right? It's on you for not doing it correctly. You didn't watch it. You didn't like it. You're sexist, racist, misogynistic. Instead of saying, well, we just missed the mark, right? Instead of looking at themselves and saying the writing was bad, cinematography was bad, the special effects were bad, something was bad, okay? They just blame the audience itself. Where back in the day, they just made a shitty movie. They're like, this is a shitty movie. Nobody got offended by it. They're just like, oh, that movie bombed. We'll get them next time. Robert Jones says, newer, unique characters are always better. They just keep pushing out the same names for the market reasons. Okay. Like, oh, we lost Iron Man. We should make another Iron Man. Let's use the other Iron Man. Oh, Captain America. Let's use other Captain America. It's like, why can't you just... Why couldn't we get a Falcon movie? Why couldn't we get a Falcon movie? Because Falcon is not popular enough to make a Falcon movie. But if we take the Falcon character and we make him into Captain America, he's still not able to make it because you know why? Because everyone knows him as Falcon because he's not Captain America. I'm surprised Ant-Man did so well. In reasonable terms. I mean, Ant-Man 1 was good. Ant-Man 2 and 3, not so much. Right? Ant-Man 3 lost so much money. Ant-Man's not really a lead character. Right? Some characters are meant to be just side characters. Because their backstory is just not interesting enough. And you can tell by this, by the comic book sales. Certain comic book characters sell better than others because they have an appealing story. People like their story. They like the costume. They like the character. Travis says, real question, Mike. Or Mike, real question. How do you feel about the whole playing as two soldiers in the rise of Hydra? I think it's cool to show the soldiers, and Steve usually leads. It's a game. If you tell me a story, then hopefully the story that you're telling me, because you're going from two superheroes to two regular people. So if the story is not good enough, Travis, or they don't get me different, how do I put this? The difference in the characters, right? In one scene, I'm Black Panther. Another scene, I'm Captain America. And then all of a sudden now I'm just a regular soldier. If they don't make it feel good, then it's going to feel really shitty when you're not playing the superheroes. Flip says, because Paul Rudd, everyone loves that guy. Paul Rudd only brings so much to the character. But the character itself, because Paul Rudd's the actor, but the actor is playing the character, and the character is not that popular. You know what I mean? Like, it was awesome when Ant-Man was in Civil War. But then when he got into his own film, you're like, this is getting a little old. Right? There's not much story. Hell, DC just keeps going back to Batman. Well, it's the same thing right now that happened in Spider-Man. What's people's biggest complaint in Spider-Man 1? I never played Spider-Man 2, but I know the complaints. What in Spider-Man, the PlayStation game, what's the biggest complaint? What's the biggest complaint? Everybody already knows the answer. Okay? Everybody knows the answer. It's when you play as Mary Jane. Right? The slow, no superpowers. Right? Too many spiders. No. No, you're not even answering the question, Travis. The worst part about Spider-Man 1 is when you're not playing as Spider-Man. That's the worst part. Okay? You're playing a superhero that can swing across this fucking city. Okay? You have superpowers, you're super strength, you're punching people in the face, and then all of a sudden, now I'm a journalist that has no abilities whatsoever. So if that engagement is not super good, then you've lost the audience. Right? People are like, I don't want to play this. Right? Their number one complaint in the first game is like, I hope you don't do this again in the second game. And then what happened? Then you got to do it in the second game. Right. Mary Jane sections get the most heat in the Spider-Man games, and they're poorly designed on top of that. Right. So in another aspect, what's the other game recently? Indiana Jones, right? Indiana Jones doesn't have any superpowers, right? Indiana Jones has no superpowers. He is basically MJ, right? Just sneaking around doing stuff, but he's badass because he's a lead. He's a hero. Okay, he has no superpowers. He just punches people or whatever. So if you gave me another character in Indiana Jones, I was doing a side character in that, and I was the girl in the movie or in the game, it wouldn't be as big of a difference because she doesn't have any superpowers either. But when you go from a superpower person to a non-superpower person, now you go back to Captain America and Black Panther, Hydra, 1943. Those two characters better feel really good. Maybe you play them first, and then you play the superhero characters, because if you play the superhero characters and then go to them, those two characters they better be really well designed, and their gameplay better be 10 times better than what it would have been if I wasn't playing Captain America. Right? If I'm not playing Captain America or Black Panther, I'm going to these two characters. They better feel real fucking good when I play them. Waterbear says, I wanted to play more as Venom. The little scenario. Oh, I missed it. The little scenario when you get to play him is amazing. One of the best parts of the game. Flip says, yeah. And you play as Mary Jane, and she can one-shot stuff and take Spider-Man like 10 seconds to kill. Right? But why do you think that is, Eclipse? Because their feedback from the last game was it was fucking boring playing her. So, like, how do we make her better? Let's make her kill things faster. Yeah, you know? MJ is stronger than Spider-Man. Just the way it is. It is. Just the way it is. Things will never be the same. Roadkill, Mary Jane and Spider-Man 2, stupid. Stupid. 2, I'm playing as Spider-Man. Game, not a Mary Jane. And yeah, just dumb playing as Mary Jane. And even then, they got her stronger than Spider-Man 2. And so you see the parallels that I'm making? I hopefully, with Travis's question, hopefully the two characters that you play, the soldiers, okay, the non-superhero characters, feel really fucking good when you're not playing as the superheroes. All right, let me get a picture real fast of, was it 1943? Rise of Hydra? Rising? Okay. Let's bring this picture up on the screen. Why? That. All right. So, these characters right here, okay? You're putting a soldier, who's a soldier, right? And you're putting his second right-hand man or right-hand woman, whatever, right? So they're going to be somewhat, he's a soldier, doesn't have a super serum, I would think. He's just a soldier, right? These two are superheroes. She's not a superhero, okay? But she's probably badass, He's badass. So they're probably similar in style. They both have combat. So it might feel good because they both have combat skills and whatnot. But if I'm doing stuff with these two characters, you better hope that these two characters pull their weight in the game. Otherwise, it'll feel like Mary Jane. It'll feel underwhelming. And you'll be like, great game, but I don't really like these. Right? If they're betting on it, well, the story's good. The gameplay of these two characters better feel good. It's a big risk. I applaud it. Right? You're taking a chance of certain things. Right? Maybe the story is good overall. But if the gameplay feels slow or boring or monotonous with these two characters and they don't feel as good as when you're playing these two characters, then people are going to be like, yeah, these two characters, they could have done this game without these two characters. And again, I'm not giving shit to the game. I'm answering the question. It's cool that they're in the game, but they better make sure the gameplay feels good. Kraken says it's actually a Mary Jane game and Spider-Man is just the side quest. Yeah, Steve isn't going to spit out bullets and heal the hole in 3 seconds flat. Then I'm a homie Wolverine, but also a human features the ability are enhanced from a serum, including the ability to heal. Travis says if they have to make sense, that also matters to me. Like if it's just that Cap gets hurt or captured, got to get him to help. Sure, that's happened in the comics itself. Right. So here, in that what you're saying, let's say you start the game off and Cap's behind bars and this guy has to save him. So now, early in the game, you're just a normal person and you have to get Cap out. And then you get to play as Cap. Right? And then there's like these moments that happen, right? Which is fine because then it scales like this. Okay. But if you start off playing Cap and then you play the soldier, and then you play the other character, and then you're playing Black Panther, it's gonna feel weird. Again, they might have done a phenomenal job of what these characters do. They just got to make sure it's interesting. Otherwise, you'll have the same type of thing happening with Mary Jane. Mary Jane was underwhelming the first game, and then they tried to make her better in the second game. And the guy came out and said why he made it. Right? He's like, Mary Jane's in the game. Right? That's because they're leading by committee, and they probably said, you need to put for the girls out there, you need to put Mary Jane out there. Well, she's not a superhero, right? Mary Jane's literally could have been handled through cutscenes only realistically, and didn't even need to be anything in the gameplay section either in the game. Waterbear says the Dora are basically the Black Panther without drinking the herb, and their gardener is vibranium, and also gave the years of combat training. I'm sure the combat will be similar to Black Panther. All I'm saying, Water, is if you're not playing the character, the gameplay, and they better make it feel fucking fantastic. Otherwise, it's like, why am I playing these characters when I could be playing Black Panther? That's all I'm saying. I'm not giving the characters shit. All I'm saying is, as the gamer, you're controlling a superhero, and then you're controlling a non-superhero. If it's underwhelming, then you're not going to like it. Robert Jones says Cap can get headshotted just like anybody else. Sure, that's what the shield's for. Right, protects his head. Travis says, why do you all keep assuming a woman on the committee? It was also probably a dude who wanted to play as Mary Jane, live out his hidden fantasy. Maybe. Still by committee. Still by committee. Well, the stats that we show said that 5% of the population would really like this. 50% of all the things that we read on just on this topic, and the other 50% we didn't read because they were bad. Whatever. They talked about putting Mary Jane in the game, and she didn't need to be in the game. Didn't need to be in the game. Let's see what's happened on Twitter. Travis says 30, but I mean, come on, you're playing a game as a chick and loving it. Because let's be honest, y'all having a lot of fun last night. What does being a chick have anything to do with it? See, you missed the entire point of the whole thing, Travis. For some reason, you heard it's bad because it's Mary Jane because she's a girl. That's what you got out of that whole conversation. Your point exactly? Your point exactly is that everything that I said, the point that you got out of it was that she's a girl? I didn't bring up Mary Jane because she was a girl. I brought it up because she's a non-superhero in a superhero game. Committee saying playing as a non-hero still couldn't be good, but they do it anyway. But they do it well. Yeah, but the game that we're playing now, Split Fiction, it's told in the stories that they told as a cyber ninja in a fantasy world. So it's their characters they've created in the actual fictitious world. They're not just regular people. Al says it's bad because it's fucking boring. That's right. Not because it's boring because she's a fucking girl. You're playing a superhero, and then you're not playing a superhero. And the non-superhero part is fucking boring when I played 5, 6, 8 hours of superhero. Argus said, yeah, I've never heard anyone complain about Mary Jane's section because she's a female. It's because the portion distracts from the action of the superhero and written poorly, and it's plot. Right. Exactly right. It's boring because they didn't program it well. Travis, I'm done with this conversation because I don't know what you're trying to say or do, because it feels fake what you're trying to do. She can take people out so easily compared to Spider-Man, not because she's a woman. I didn't play the second one. I'm talking about the first game that I played. It's the worst part of the game. Why is it the first part of the game? Why is it the worst part of the game? Because you're playing Spider-Man, and then you're not playing a superhero after that. It feels boring. Your fucking question in the very beginning of the thing was, am I excited to play the Hydra game with the characters? My answer to you was, I hope it's not like Mary Jane, because it was boring as fuck. So hopefully those characters... Okay, hopefully those characters are not boring like Mary Jane. All right, let's see what's on Twitter. Someone said I finished the main story of AC, so definitely have a Shadows review ready by March 18th. Play the PlayStation 5 GeForce Now. Cloud has become a long way since the last I used it. Someone played it. Wow, that's huge, right? Played on PlayStation 5 and GeForce Now. Cloud has come a long way since the last I used it. Which is when? The Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge Steam, $12.99 right now. $14 or $15 on PSN. That's right, Altern. That's exactly right. That's what Travis heard. PlayStation might be holding back another live service multiplayer title that is yet to be announced. Okay. I would hope so, considering they said they were making like 20 games that were live service. Astrobot PlayStation 5 Slim Edition digital bundle for $3.99. Astrobot Slim digital bundle at Amazon right now for $400. Disc edition listing is live, but not yet available. Tell me what you don't like. Or don't tell me what you don't like, 30. First, tell me what you like about Spider-Man, and then maybe tell me what you didn't like. I like the part about Spider-Man game of Spider-Man. That's what I liked. I'm not allowed to tell you what I didn't like, right? But I liked Spider-Man. So now they heard you like Spider-Man, so you like the whole game. I'm not allowed to tell them what I didn't like, which was the Mary Jane section. Because if I tell them I didn't like the Mary Jane section, is because it's a girl, which then makes me misogynistic, sexist, right? So that's the way it works. Robert Jones says, actually, according to the statistics, 35% of the comments are telling Travis how wrong he is. Half-Life 2 remastered gameplay. Valve's iconic 2004 masterpiece Half-Life 2 has been remastered with the NVIDIA RTX remix. In this 5090 4K 60 frames powered gameplay, you get the revisit both Nova and also the shiny new coat of paint. They remastered Half-Life 2. What is this? Rise of Ronin would have not started without PlayStation Studios support, says Team Ninja. Okay. April could be a huge month for Xbox games on PlayStation 5. Forza Horizon 5 could just be the beginning, according to a new report. So apparently, Indiana Jones is also dropping in April. So PlayStation is getting 2 Xbox games in April. Let's see, anything else? Gears of War 2 remake almost happened. 10 years after it canceled, concept art from a Coalition scrapped, a remake has surfaced. Also, Bethesda is reportedly set to announce an Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake in the coming weeks and releases soon after. So there might be a remake of Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I think that's it. I'm looking around to see if there's anything else. See if you guys posted anything. Don't forget tonight, guys, we have Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. It's 8 p.m. tonight. Join me and Sarge in the Time Travel Edition. 30 Thursday again. You know what I might do? We might play some more Valve this afternoon. Because my son is on a field trip. He doesn't come back until 7 o'clock tonight. So I think I might go eat lunch. And then I'll probably going to go live on 30 and Still Gaming, and we'll play some more Avowed for a couple hours. That's what we're going to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break. About an hour off or so. And then we'll be back to play some Avowed over on 30 and Still Gaming this afternoon. I think that'll do it for us. I appreciate everyone coming out, hanging out with us. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as low as $5. I do appreciate you very much for coming out. If you're here for 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour, appreciate you. Like I said, we do live streams, uploads, podcasts. Join us tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Join us this afternoon. We're going to be playing some more Avowed. We'll play a couple hours of Avowed this afternoon. And then that'll be over on 30 and Still Gaming. And then we'll do uploads. I did upload this morning at 7 o'clock. That was on the... what did I put up this morning? I don't even know what I put up because I haven't set pre. Let's see what I got. We put up... What a great marketing thing. Hey, go watch the thing I did today. I don't know what it is. Oh, the handheld. Xbox handheld coming soon. We put that up today. Yeah, sorry. It's already Thursday. It's already Thursday. Yeah, that'll do it. You guys have a great rest of your afternoon, day, and evening. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tuned in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming always. Laughs and news, our winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixels small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Come on in, your morning